All right, let's dive right into this explainer and look at how technology is completely rewriting the rulebook on how we learn. For literally centuries, education has basically operated like a factory. But right now, a massive wave of innovation, specifically artificial intelligence, is tearing those brick walls down. We're shifting away from mass instruction and moving straight into mass personalization. And honestly, the implications for human potential are absolutely staggering. I mean, think about it. Have you ever sat in a classroom and felt totally lost while everyone else seemed to effortlessly keep up? Or maybe the exact opposite. You're sitting there, completely bored, just waiting for the group to grasp a concept that you locked down 20 minutes ago. The whole system assumes that 30 totally unique brains are going to process and retain new information at the exact same speed. It's a hugely flawed assumption, and it leaves an immense amount of human potential completely untapped. So, to unpack all of this, we're going to cover 5 key areas today. Traditional versus personalized learning, enter artificial intelligence, the 4D learning process, measuring the academic impact, and finally, the augmentation paradox. Let's kick things off with Section 1, traditional versus personalized learning. Look, traditional one-to-many instruction is undeniably efficient for moving masses of people through a system, but it is rigidly linear. If you miss a step, bam, you fall behind. On the flip side, personalized learning is the holy grail. It tailors the pace and the content perfectly to you. It's incredibly engaging, but scaling it's a total logistical nightmare. A single teacher just can't clone themselves to build 30 unique, customized curriculums every single day. And this rigid, linear approach, it really falls short for neurodivergent students, like those with dyslexia or ADHD. It basically ignores what's known as multiple intelligences. That's the reality that some brains are wired for visual learning, while others really need logical or kinetic inputs. I mean, rote memorization is completely useless for someone with short-term memory challenges. True personalized learning actually formats the experience to match your unique brain wiring, so nobody gets locked out of their own education. Now, why does personalization actually work? Well, it all comes down to self-determination theory. When you're told exactly what you have to learn and exactly when to learn it, your brain just registers it as a chore. But when you give a learner real autonomy, a voice and a choice in how they navigate the material, and you tie that directly to real-world competence, you spark their innate curiosity. You shift them from being passive receivers into highly motivated explorers. So how do we actually pull this off for everyone? That brings us to Section 2. Enter artificial intelligence. Think about your favorite apps for a second. Why are they so addictive? It's the streaks, the experience points, the leaderboards. Now, building a custom video game for every single learning objective out there would be unbelievably expensive. But gamification is different. AI can seamlessly overlay these engaging gaming mechanics onto standard learning materials. It essentially hacks the psychology of habit formation, but without the multi-million-dollar budget of building a video game from scratch. But, and this is a really crucial distinction, true AI educational tools aren't just slapping a shiny cosmetic wrapper over basic chatbots like ChatGPT. They are actually built on deep pedagogical frameworks. They act as dedicated companions with structured guardrails. They combine real brain science with the psychology of habit to make sure you're genuinely learning the material, not just copying and pasting answers. These advanced companions actually analyze your specific role and your learning style to curate a conversational pathway just for you. Like, if you can only focus in 10-minute bursts, the AI adapts to exactly 10 minutes. And importantly, it aligns these highly personalized, story-driven conversations with official national qualifications frameworks. So your customized learning journey still earns you real-world accredited certifications. Let's look at how this all comes together in Section 3, the 4D learning process. This framework maps out a student's journey from absolute beginner to total mastery. First, Discover assesses your specific goals and weaknesses. Second, Discuss negotiates a learning schedule that actually fits into your real life. Third, Deliver totally ditches the old I speak, you listen model and replaces it with dynamic, two-way conversation. And finally, Demonstrate is where the rubber really meets the road. That demonstration phase is absolutely vital. It stops you from just passively reading textbooks and pushes you into deep critical thinking. It takes you right to the top of what's called Bloom's taxonomy. Our brains only truly lock in knowledge when we apply it, like piecing together a complex puzzle. By generating real-world case studies mapped specifically to your life, the AI forces you to analyze, apply, and create. Theory is great, for sure, but let's look at the hard numbers in Section 4, measuring the academic impact. Because the empirical data here is where things get genuinely wild. A massive review of dozens of studies between 2019 and 2024 finally put a number on this. Researchers rigorously compared students using AI-assisted adaptive learning against those stuck in traditional linear classrooms. And the result? An effect size of 0.70. Now, if you're not an educational researcher, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Well, an effect size of 0.70 is massive. It represents a medium to large positive gain for cognitive learning. It proves mathematically that AI-personalized instruction isn't just a gimmick. It fundamentally upgrades how a student grasps complex information. When we break that data down a bit more, we see an overall academic achievement boost of 0.36 standard deviations. But look closely at mathematics. Math is a highly structured subject, right? If you miss step A, you literally cannot do step B. In math, students saw a staggering 0.42 standard deviation improvement when they were supported by an AI tutor that adapted to their specific hurdles in real time. To translate all that statistics jargon into plain English for us, students using these AI systems are basically gaining the equivalent of 3 to 5 extra months of learning. That is a transformational leap. The AI is optimizing the learning process so efficiently that these students are pulling almost half a school year ahead of their peers. But we have to look at the flip side, which takes us to our final section, the augmentation paradox. So while student motivation absolutely spikes with AI, researchers are raising a big red flag about something called the augmentation paradox. It's this fascinating but kind of alarming catch-22. Think about it. If a machine perfectly curates your content and removes all the friction, do you lose the grit required to struggle through complex problems on your own? Short-term test prep becomes slick and easy, but we risk seriously stunting our long-term independent learning skills. And the risks aren't just cognitive. There are heavy structural risks, too. When an algorithm is entirely dictating your path, it creates this illusion of choice, secretly boxing in open-ended exploration. Plus, if we just assume everyone has the digital fluency to use these tools, we're going to widen the digital divide. We also face the very real threat of digital colonialism, where a few massive tech hubs export their specific, culturally blind algorithms out to incredibly diverse local classrooms. So it's clear that while AI undeniably solves the nightmare of scaling personalized learning, it also opens up a whole Pandora's box of new challenges. The tech is incredibly powerful for accommodating neurodiversity, no doubt, but treating education as a purely data-driven, pre-programmed optimization equation strips away the socio-emotional human elements that are just absolutely vital to our overall development. We are literally standing at a profound crossroads right now. We finally have the technology to give every single person on Earth their own dedicated tutor, effectively closing global achievement gaps. But if we don't implement this with care, we risk creating an entire generation that is wildly efficient, yet totally dependent on algorithms to do the thinking for them. So the final question we have to ask ourselves, based on all this, is, will AI unlock our ultimate cognitive potential or permanently limit our ability to learn independently?